Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1528B, and today's date is March 23rd, 2018, and the title of the episode is Nobody Escapes. It's all being set up to close all the exits. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, the House Intelligence Committee, they had a vote, and they announced that it had concluded its probe into Russia's purported collusion and election meddling, finding that the intelligence community allegations about Russia's role were completely overblown. We all knew this, and they're saying that they're going to be releasing reports saying that they found no evidence of collusion between Trump and Russia. And we all knew this was a nothing burger. It's been proven over and over again by Veritas Project going in, having these individuals saying that, yeah, we really have no evidence. This whole Mueller investigation, it is going absolutely nowhere. I mean, think about what he's doing right now. He's doing everything but Russian collusion. He's looking at everything else, but actually, Trump is actually keeping Mueller in office and having him do this because the corporate media plays off of this and they keep this in the news. Meanwhile, while this is a distraction for everyone, and everyone thinks that Mueller is coming up with something, Trump, the Patriots, and those individuals are behind the scenes doing other things. Other things meaning destroying the central bank, getting rid of the deep state, firing as many people as possible, cleaning house, and going after those individuals that committed crimes, building cases, and making sure that nobody escapes this. Nobody. All exits will be blocked. And this is what's happening right now. And according to Q, he said that, we were going after these big social media companies where they were mining data, selling your privacy off to the highest bidder. And this is exactly what is going on right now. And we see right now, if you really look at Facebook, when they started to sell people's private data, and they opened up the profiles and the data to app developers and they did this in 2009. From 2009 to 2015, they went from making $1 million to making billions of dollars selling people's data. So they knew exactly what was going on when we talk about Cambridge Analytica, because all these app developers were purchasing private data where no one said that you can have my data. The same thing happens with Google. The same thing happens with Twitter. This has been going on for a very long time. Now, something very interesting about Cambridge Analytica is owned by a British company, SCL Ltd, which in effect does exactly the same activities in the UK that Cambridge Analytica was undertaking in the US. Now, looking at the board members, there's one name that really jumps out. Lord Ivar Mountbatten. He's the direct descendant of Queen Victoria and scion of the family closest friends with that of the UK's unelected monarch. The only person listed by Companies House as having significant control. 25% of the shares. Now, as we take a closer look, you find that Cambridge Analytica is a mere offshoot of Strategic Communication Laboratories, SCL, an organization with its roots deeply embedded within the British political, military, and royal establishment. The organization boasts that it has conducted behavioral change programs in over 60 countries, and its clients have included the British Ministry of Defense, the U.S. State Department, and NATO, and many others. In addition, SCL also carries a secret clearance as a List X contractor for the MOD. A List X site is a commercial site on British soil that is approved to hold UK government information marked as confidential and above. Essentially, SCL got the green light to hold British government secrets on its premises. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department has a contract for $500,000 with SCL. Now, according to an official, this was to provide research and analytical support in connection with our mission to counter terrorist propaganda and disinformation overseas. This was not the only work that the SCL has been contracted for with the U.S. government. They have done many others. So it's very interesting that they're bringing all of this up because they've had ties with Obama. They've had ties with the intelligence agencies. They've had ties with the government. I think this is why this is actually coming out. And I think the narrative is going to start to switch from Trump over to what ties does this company have with the British government, the U.S. government, and did Facebook sell private data to companies without the people's consent? And I think this is where this is headed. Now, SCL is also involved in deception and meddling in the name of the game. So we finally have the most concrete evidence yet of shadowy actors using dirty tricks in order to rig elections. But these characters aren't operating from Moscow. They're operating from the UK, the British. They're headquartered in the City of London and have close ties to Her Majesty's government. So we can see that they're going to be digging a lot harder, and they're going to find out a lot more information of what is really going on here. And this is going to be most likely something pretty darn big. Now we see the deep state, they are still pushing their agenda to remove weapons from the people because they don't want the people to have weapons, because their ultimate goal is to control the people and make sure the people cannot fight back no matter what. And they've been trying for a very long time. They use a lot of different events. They try to push many different bills. They've been trying to push the UN Arms Treaty. They already signed it. John Kerry, when he was in office, he already signed it. They tried to get through. They tried to get it through the Senate. It just wouldn't move or budge. They couldn't get anywhere with it. Now they're trying a different tactic. Andrew Ross Sorkin wrote in the New York Times that banks could control guns if Washington won't. And he's saying that banks like Citigroup, like Bank of America, they can decide if guns can be purchased using their credit system. And it looks like Citigroup is going to enforce gun control restrictions on customers. Now, once again, if you are purchasing a weapon with your own money and you're using like a debit card, well, how can they stop you? A credit card, I can understand. It's really not your money. You're actually borrowing that money. So you're really borrowing it from the bank. But if you decide to go and you decide to purchase something using your own funds, how are they rejecting you? I mean, that's a violation of your right. But it looks like this is what they're trying to do, and they're trying to do it on the back end, where they're saying that they won't process any of the purchases. And this is how they can control who purchases a gun and who doesn't purchase a gun. Now, of course, people can use cash, or maybe these gun retailers, they might even switch to cryptocurrency, and people can pay using cryptocurrency. Remember, every time the deep state tries to push their agenda, there's always a way around it. It's almost like sanctions, where the U.S. government comes out and they sanction a country like Cuba or like Iran, Syria, and they say, okay, we have them now. You know what they do? Well, they go into the black market. They find ways around the sanction. They deal in other currencies. They barter. The same thing is going to happen here. People are smart. People know how to get around these rules and laws. It's been going on for many, 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 many years, thousands of years. And what they do is they keep creating new laws. But if you're not going to follow the first law, why would you follow the other laws? You wouldn't. The laws are just put into place to throw you in jail after you break them, if they can catch you. But we can see already that they're trying to get PayPal, Square, Stripe, Apple Pay, American Express, MasterCard, Visa, the banking system. They're all trying to get them all in on this. This way they can set new rules for the sales of guns in America. This is how they're planning to control it all. Now, once again, the deep state never gives up because they still think in their minds they're still going to be in control. But they're being whittled down right now. They're being pushed into a corner. They're becoming desperate because they realize they can't push any of the laws in the U.S. right now. They don't have that ability. They don't have that power. And this is why they're turning towards credit cards and banking and things like that to try to control it that way. But that's going to fail. We see Turkey right now. They are saying after they've captured Afrin and other areas within the Kurd region that they've discovered and seized 2 AT-4 unguided anti-tank weapons from the PKK forces. They're saying this was supplied to them by the deep state. And once again, we can see that the deep state is providing weapons to anyone that will do their bidding. And we see right now the Kurd forces, they are going to be turning away from the deep state. Things are going to change rapidly there, and things are not going to go the way the deep state thinks they're going to go. Yes, they're going to make a push. Yes, they're going to try different things, but it's all going to fail. We see right now the UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, he is saying that mantra that they kept repeating, Assad must go. Well, that's no longer viable. Of course it isn't. Assad controls his country now with Russia. He's not going anywhere. I mean, unless he's assassinated. But otherwise, he's there. The people elected him. The people are now coming back. Actually, the German MP said, listen, we visited Syria. It's safe. The refugees can come back. There's no reason. Actually, millions of people are coming back into Syria because the terrorists are gone. That's why they left. They didn't leave because of Assad. They left because of the Islamic State, al-Nusra, al-Qaeda, the moderate rebels, the terrorist groups, the paid mercenary army that is controlled by the coalition forces and the deep state. That's why they left, because they were being tortured by them. We see right now Russia and U.S. military chiefs, they're going to meet to discuss Syria. So we have General of the Army Valery Gerasimov. He's the head of the Russia's General Staff, and the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs, Joseph Dunford. And they're going to be discussing Syria on the phone and agreed on further contacts. And they're going to be talking about Syria and their mutual interests and what they need to do next. Now, we see Rand Paul is out there, and he is saying that, yes, the deep state does exist. He said the term deep state accurately describes how an unelected bureaucracy of national security officials in positions of power exert influence without congressional oversight. He said, absolutely there's a deep state, because the deep state is the intelligence agencies that do not have oversight. He said only 8 people in Congress know what they're doing, and traditionally, those 8 people have been a rubber stamp to let the intelligence communities do whatever they want. There is no skeptic among the 8 people that are supposedly overseeing the intelligence community. He calls them the Gang of 8. And we see right now that Brennan, Clapper, all these individuals, but there's other deep state members embedded within government. And they're still using their positions to do the dirty work. Nothing has changed. What has changed is that those members are being let go. H.R. McMaster's has been kicked out. He's been replaced by John Bolton as National Security Advisor. Is this a better choice? We'll have to see. But we can see right now, McMaster's was part of the deep state, part of the globalist. He is now removed. Now, what is happening here is the Trump administration, the Patriots, they have been preparing everything for the takedown of the major part of the deep state, to bring those indictments out, to have the investigations completed. And the only way to do this was to set everything up. Needed to block every exit, make sure that these individuals couldn't slither away, make sure that you're able to do what you're supposed to be doing once you get them. And this is why Trump has been very busy creating these executive orders. Executive Order 13818, blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Those individuals that have been involved in trafficking children and whatnot and pedophilia. Well, guess what? This is what this executive order covers. Getting their property, cutting them off. He did Executive Order 13799, establishment of Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity, making sure that the deep state can't manipulate the elections, and that report is coming out very soon. Executive Order 13798, promoting free speech and religious liberty, allowing people to speak freely. Even though we have the Bill of Rights, this is backing this up to make sure that, yes, people do have the right to speak freely. Executive Order 13793, improving accountability and whistleblower protection at the Department of Veteran Affairs. Executive Order 13788, Buy American and Hire American, making sure the jobs stay here that we purchase here. Executive Order 13780, protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States. Executive Order 13778, restoring the rule of law. Executive Order 13773, enforcing federal law with respect to transnational criminal organizations and preventing international trafficking. Executive Order 13825, 2018 amendments to the Manual for Court Martials in the United States. Executive Order 13823, protecting America through lawful detention of terrorists. Now remember, these individuals, they're going to be considered terrorists because they were working against and to destroy the United States. So we can see right now, all these things are being put into place because they are being set up and prepared for what is about to come. And we can see that each thing is happening actually the way Q is laying out. And is it moving as fast as everyone would want? No, but it is happening. And we're going to see as we move into the latter part of this year, things are really going to accelerate. I mean, you see what's happening with the economy. You see what's happening with tariffs. You can see how the economy can be brought down. You can see how all these executive orders are being put into place to make sure that we can have court martials, to make sure we can contain their funds, to make sure we can trap these individuals and try them in a military tribunal. I mean, look what is happening here. All of this had to be put into place ahead of time. Once everything is in place, there will be no escape. Nobody will escape, as Q would say. All the exits will be blocked. And guess what? We're going to see the indictments come out. We're going to see these individuals captured, unless something else happens. And we're going to see all of this happen very rapidly. I mean, look how quickly the firings are happening right now within the White House. All these individuals that we knew that were deep state globalists, they are being removed right now. So everything is being pushed forward. This is the plan. But the deep state, well, they still have power. They still have the ability to do things. And we can see right now, this is a race to the end. And we can see how all of this is happening very, very quickly. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.